So we've been talking thus far about being available, about what it means to be available for God. And this is the last lesson in this series, and I want to make sure that you get out of it what God wants you to get out of it. You know, so many times we don't feel we are enough. We don't feel that we have a lot to give. You'll look around and see people with more and say, if I only had fill in the blank. Or if I had this, I would give that, And we have these desires, but in our current state, we struggle on what we can give. And I understand that because it's not just money, right? Money is a big part. That's where our mind goes. But even with time, you think about it, if you felt like, if I had enough money to retire, I would give more time to this. But right now, you have to give 8 hours a day to a job. Then you get home, you got some more hours you got to give. Then over the weekend, you got other stuff and errands you need to run. Basically, you're busy. And you got a personal life, and you got a professional life, and you got just stuff you got to upkeep. That's a lot of time. Take a lot of effort. And then sometimes you feel guilty about just sitting down and enjoying yourself, whether that's taking a break or, I should read my Bible, I should do this, then you feel guilty when you don't do that. But sometimes you do feel like you need to rest, and you feel guilty about doing that. The world is full of that guilt, and we feel like, man, I need to give more to God. I need to do more for God. The thing is, we have to be willing and able to give God whatever we have available. But we have to give him all of us, and we have to know what that means to be there for God, to be there at any time that he needs us. We got to be willing to give it to him. When you put things in perspective, let's just say you had an important job to do. You've been gearing up for this important assignment, whether it's a client of yours or whatever. It's up there on the list, right? I got to get this done. And you at the job and you're executing and you're doing what you need to do, and your phone rings. And you answer that call and it's emergency. Your mama's sick. Your wife hurt. Your child is, got a broken bone and needs you. How quick did you get off that job and go see about your loved one? Put it in perspective, right? Because that person, you've been made available to that person. Even though you're doing something else, when they call, that other thing becomes very small. Now, just a few minutes ago was the most important thing on your list. This is what you've been working for the longest. But that one phone call made you turn and say, my mama need me. My wife need me. My brother need me. My child needs me. Y'all going to have to understand. And most people would, because they understand priorities. But where does God fit on that list? How many times has God interrupted your life with an assignment or with a, I need you right now, for you to say, that ain't God. Or, nah, not right now. But whatever we bring to him, he will use. And we just have to be there. So the thing about being there for God, what most people struggle with, and I'll tell you one of the things that I've struggled with in looking at people is, you think about how many people believe in God, or they say believe in a higher power, which is God. How many people in your life that know who God is, but choose not to be a part of God? And you ask yourself, why? Why is it that you know that if they were in a situation, they want you to pray, or they would seek out something to align them with Christ, someone, either church, their Bible, you fill in the blank of what it may be, but you know that they know the truth, but on their daily life, they don't live that truth and they don't accept that truth, and basically they have not become saved yet. And you look at their life and you say, this isn't a bad person. This person isn't out there just doing all types of crazy stuff. Why is it that they haven't committed? What is holding them back? And it's one thing that constantly comes up. They'll say, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. And I said, well, what does that mean? I'm not ready. Well, that goes to how we are in all areas of our life. Think about how much time you spend getting ready. Getting ready for church, getting ready for work, getting ready for that assignment we talked about. If you got something special coming up, you think about a kid going to prom, or you got a banquet, you'll go get your dress made or your suit bought and going to the cleaners. All that's going into getting ready. Sometimes, depending on the event, you could spend over a week getting ready for the event. I got to set up, getting ready for a wedding. You think about how much it take about a year to get a good wedding going, right? All that is getting ready. Now imagine you going on a date with somebody. Go back to your teenage years, some of y'all. And that person show up early. And you were downstairs not quite ready. What you do? Run upstairs. They can't see me like this because I'm not ready. We spend more time getting ready than we do the event. I always tell people, I've done a lot of weddings, right? The wedding may last a good one, 15 minutes, maybe 20, depending on what you do. Now, Adrian and I did go to one that started at 1 o'clock on a Sunday. This was before we got married. Started at 1 o'clock. At 5 o'clock, we were still in them pews watching. They had people speaking. They had a foot washing. They had practice. It don't take this much to get married. They together. They been together. We got to go. So some people may extend it out. But for the most part, a wedding take about 15, 20 minutes, right? The ceremony. But you will spend 6, 7 months picking flowers and the dress and this and that. And don't nobody notice them flowers. You don't realize that till after the wedding. Like, I spent this much on flowers. What did y'all think about the lilac? Oh, I didn't even see that. Like, you know how many arguments I got into over the lilac versus the purple? Don't nobody care. They just came to see a wedding, and it's that fast. But think about how much time went to getting ready. This has to be perfect. That has to be perfect. Somebody's coming to your house. You got to spend more time getting ready than the event takes. So we put a lot into getting ready. Same thing with God. We want to be ready. Now, why is it so much important that we're ready? Because if we don't feel like if we're not ready for that date, we won't make the best impression. It may not lead to a second date. It may not lead to the relationship that we're looking for because we didn't look like we were ready or we mentally weren't ready. We have to be ready to get married because if I get married too soon, it might fail. I have to be ready for that particular job. Why? Because if I'm not ready, I won't succeed. People go to college. They go to a lot of schooling. Why? Just to be ready. So we spend a lot of time getting ready. So it makes sense that people, when they say commitment to Christ, I'm not ready. Makes sense, right? But the difference is we will never be ready because you're never going to be enough for God. You will always find something that's not quite right. Now, when we get ready for a person, we can look in the mirror and say, oh, this is perfect. This looks good. And we can clean up enough and not say everything and keep certain things behind like you do a job interview, right? You keep certain things in the dark and they can see the best you that they can. But we know when we come to Christ, He going to see everything. So how is it that I can come to God and feel precious and feel like He would want me and feel like He wouldn't reject me? And think about people. How many people come to church and have been rejected? But to them, God is church. How many of them have looked at Christians and been rejected? And to them, Christians are God. So if they feel rejected by the people of Christ, how is it that they know that Christ won't also reject them? So we have to be the speakers of truth to bring yourself to God, bring what you have available to Him, and He will make it work all the time. That's the core of this lesson. But let's get into a little scripture. Go to Matthew. Matthew 14, 17 through 21. So here it is, Jesus had been teaching, and the people were hungry. And so when the disciples said, send them to town so they can go get something to eat. And Jesus said, no, let them sit right here. Don't send them away. And in verse 17, he says, we have here only 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. Bring them here to me, he said. And he directed the people to sit on the grass. Taking the 5 loaves and 2 fish and looking up to heaven, he gave thanks and broke the loaves. Then he gave them to the disciples, and the disciples gave them to the people. They all ate and were satisfied, and the disciples picked up 12 baskets full of broken pieces that were left over. The number of those who ate was about 5,000, besides the women and children. So we see he took this small amount and made enough. You know, go ahead and go to John 6. John 6, verse 8. I'm going to read this version too, because it's something that comes out of both of them. So John talks about the same story. He says, another of his disciples, in verse 8, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, spoke up. Here is a boy with 5 small barley loaves and 2 small fish. But how far will they go among so many? Jesus said, have the people sit down. There was plenty of grass in that place, and they sat down. Jesus then took the loaves and gave thanks and distributed to those who were seated as much as they wanted. He did the same thing with the fish. When they had all had enough to eat, he said to the disciples, gather the pieces that are left over. Let nothing be wasted. So they gathered them and filled the 12 baskets with pieces of the 5 barley loaves left over by those who had eaten. Now, we see in both of those stories that the people were hungry, and there was a great many people. And what he was given was not enough. But he made it enough. That's essentially the core of the story. Now, we look at this meal. You know, a lot of times you see the pictures, you see some big fish, and you see some big loaves of bread. Well, this was a small boy. So it was a typical meal. Now, the bread part was the core of the meal. That's what he was going to get full over. The fish were little small fish, just enough to get a good taste. It wasn't no big old bass, okay? So not enough to do much with. It was barely enough to feed this little boy. But notice what Jesus did. He told the people to sit, meaning he was confident in what he had. He wasn't sitting there like, oh, let me assess what I got, and then we'll go and see if the people can have enough to eat. He told them to go ahead and sit down. I got what I need. I'll make it enough. I'm confident they're going to get something to eat, so go ahead and sit down. Then notice what he did. He gave thanks over what he had been given. He didn't pray, God, please make this enough. He didn't look up and say, oh, I hope this works. Oh, Lord, please supply. No, he gave thanks for what he had, meaning he had faith, he had confidence in what he had in his hand was going to be able to feed all those people. No doubt at all. Now, the other thing I want you to notice is that it says that there was a small boy. They said, here is a boy. So if you look in John 6, he says, here is a boy with small barley loaves. That's all we get about this boy. It didn't say, oh, boy saw Jesus in need and gave it to him. It said, here's a boy. He got some stuff. The story wasn't really about the boy. Amen. The story was about what the boy offered. And that is what was used. The boy wasn't used. What he gave was used. That's very important to understand. Now, when Jesus has what he needs, he does extraordinary things. So he was going to feed these people regardless. In fact, he did it again. This wasn't the only one we look at, but if we look at Matthew 15, 32 through 39, it says Jesus called his disciples to him and said, I have compassion for these people. They have been with me 3 days and have nothing to eat. In 33, he says his disciples answered, where could we get enough bread in this remote location? And in 34, he says, how many loaves do you have? 7, they replied, and a few small fish. And again, he told the people to sit down, and he took those 7 loaves and the fish and gave thanks and broke them and basically the people ate, right? So we get two situations where he fed people with a meal. But notice there was no small boy in this situation. So when we look at the story, it's about what we make available to Christ. Are we willing to give him what we don't feel like is enough so that he can use it for his purpose? When we give what we need to give to Jesus, even if we don't feel ready, he will supply the need that is there. We have to make sure that we are willing to give it, because when we give it, what will he do? He will give thanks and he will use it. We have to be willing vessels to give, because we can look in our bag and be like, I'm not going to give this. This is almost embarrassing to give. He asked for all this, and I don't have all that. All I got is this little bit of time. All I got is this little bit of effort. All I got is this little bit of whatever I got left over. That's not enough, so I'm not going to do it at all. How many times have you not gone to a place because you didn't have the proper attire to go? Somebody say, we having this type of party. And you say, I don't really have that type of clothes, so I'm not going to go at all. And then you find out, they say, you could have just came on with your head. It wasn't no big deal. But you didn't feel adequate enough to go. How many times have you just not gone places because you didn't feel that you fit in with the crowd, or that you would stand out because you weren't ready? You didn't mingle with that type of people. You felt a little different. It wasn't your type of crowd. How many times did you not pull out what you had in your pocket because it wasn't enough like everybody else had? How many times did you not apply your skill because you knew that there were people that were better than you, but you missed out? You know, think about it. You can go to somewhere and they say, hey, this is art class. We're going to teach you how to paint. Just paint a picture. And everybody in there painting, and you look around and you say, there's some nice looking pieces. I don't know how to paint. Well, guess what? It's art class. They teaching you how to paint, but y'all, I ain't going to even try to paint it. I ain't gonna, they're going to make fun of mine because I know it ain't even up to par. That's just simple. But how many times do we plant that in our life over and over and over again because we don't feel ready? So if this small boy or if the disciple had not spoken up, and he looked at him, man, this ain't enough. Go on, you just going to eat that over here. He brought what he had. Say, man, that's all we got. Jesus said, okay. Smile on his face. Tell him to sit down. Let me give thanks. Go feed the people. Now imagine a confused look on the disciples' face. Feed the people what? With these fish and this barley loaf. How? Just do it. I will make it work. See, Jesus is something. When you bring it, when you bring what you have, notice what he said. Here is a small boy with. Imagine if you made yourself available. Here is Kenny with. Here is Adrian. You just bring it and it says, here is this person with. With what? Not enough. Jesus said, that's okay. Give thanks for what you've given. Lord, here's all the time that I have. Here's all the effort that I have. Here's all the prayer that I have. Here's all this that I have. And when you give that, he gives thanks for what you have. And then it is enough. It is given to what he needs it to go to. Sometimes it's given for you. Sometimes it's given for your family. Sometimes it's given for a multitude of people. Whatever it is for God's purpose. You just have to be willing to make it available. So what do you have that's not enough? Because it will never be enough. You will never feel adequate enough. You will never feel like you're there. You're going to have to make it happen for God, which means you're going to have to make it available to him. And when you make it available, when you give it, and he thanks, give thanks. Notice he didn't say, this is all you got? I'm going to have to pray hard over this. No, he gave thanks. In both of these situations, he gave thanks. I need that one. If it cut out again, I'll use it. Thank you. She dedicated. So what do we have to do? Well, first thing we got to do, right here, get out your own way. This thing right here, it starts turning, it starts doubting, it starts questioning, it starts, a lot of stuff starts going through this mind. All your worrying starts right here. You ever notice how much time you spend thinking what somebody else is thinking? You will never figure it out. But you try to read facial expressions, you try to read actions, and you still get it wrong. You can get a text message from somebody and be like, I wonder what that means. And next thing you know, this starts going. Wonder why they responded like that. They must be mad at me. Did you give them a reason to be mad at you? No, but this don't make sense. I wonder. 2 days go by, I ain't heard from them. I wonder. 5 days go by, oh my goodness, it must be real bad. You done spend 5 days worrying. Then you seeing, what's going on? Oh, nothing, what's happening? Da, da, da. Man, I got your text message. What text message? Oh, you said, oh man, I was just, nothing. And all them 5 days just magically go away. But you spent so much time wondering, trying to figure it out. All up here. Nobody else involved. You can't even enjoy yourself. Every time you turn around, something else jumping in your head, trying to figure it out. What you trying to figure out? Nothing. What somebody else is thinking? How you going to figure that out? Without talking to the person. You can't. But we going to try. Because it's all up here. So what does God say? God said in Romans 12:2, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. Because your mind will tell you you are never enough. You don't look the part. You don't act the part. You don't feel the part. They won't make you a part. They're going to push you out. You will not be accepted. You will always be rejected. You failed before. Look at this history of this. How is this going to work? All in your mind. But God is telling you to go forward. I got you. I've already given thanks for what you brought to me. All you got to do is apply yourself. But no, we doubt. We doubt. We doubt. So much doubt is in our life that it hinders us from acting. Even when we are put in a place to go forward, we still hold ourselves back. But when you look at life, and if you just do what God tells you to do, if you just go where he tells you to go, it has always worked out for you. You got history on your side telling you it's going to work, but you're still in your own mind. Why? Because we make ourselves available to the wrong thing. We have to make ourselves available to God. But in 2 Timothy 2:20-22, we're going to start wrapping up. It says, in a large house, there are articles not only of gold and silver, but also of wood and clay. Some are for special purposes, and some for common use. Those who cleanse themselves from the latter will be instruments for special purposes, made holy, useful to the master, and prepared to do any good work. Flee the evil desires of youth and pursue righteousness, faith, love, and peace, along with those who call on the Lord out of a pure heart. In the New King James Version, it says some are made for honorable things and some for dishonorable things. So basically saying in a large house, so this is not your regular house, this is a nice house. Meaning even in a nice house, everything in that house isn't for nice purposes. There are things that are gold and silver for special occasions. Good plates, good silverware. We having a nice party, we're going to set up the good china. So there are things for special occasions. But then there are other things that are made out of wood and clay that are for dishonorable things or common use. Taking out the garbage, sweeping up, cleaning up, daily little tasks that we do. What is clay? It's nothing. Wood, easily replaceable. The clay's going to break, I'll buy another one. The wood is going to go old, I'll get another one. It's easily replaceable. I just go by Dollar General and get a new one. No big deal, right? That's the little cheap stuff we got in our house. It ain't no big deal. I can always find this. Just, I use it for whatever I need it for. I repurpose it. But if somebody use your good stuff for something, you're going to be a little upset. So you'll dig through the drawer and find that butter knife and say, I just need to screw this in real quick and mess your butter knife up. But if somebody get your good knife, the knife that you use, your number one knife, and using it for something other than cutting up some good food, you go, hey, that knife cost me, fill in the blank, right? If you come home and they using your good plates for just some Popeyes, hey, that's my good stuff. You better put that back and go get them paper plates, right? Stuff that's replaceable is just common stuff. But see, how many of y'all have used your life for common things instead of waiting to allow God to use you for the special purpose? See, some of us have made ourselves available to the world to just be used for common goods, easily replaceable. So notice, a good woman is hard to replace. Y'all seen people who had a good marriage and they had a good spouse and they messed it up. And they go out and get somebody else and you look at them like, that ain't like such and such. They'll never measure up because you had a good thing. Now you out there trying to find somebody to replace what you had. That's hard to find. But you ever notice when you were younger and you had somebody, it looked like every other week when you had something at your house, they bring somebody new. And it was the same, man, why you keep bringing these people over here? These old people, right? Easily replaceable. Just running, oh, I met this one here. I met that one there. And you looking at them, you like, I love you, you my cousin, but you ain't no good catch. But where you keep finding these people who want you? Let's be real. They find easily replaceable people. Because when they go after the quality person, they can't bring them around because that quality person ain't coming. Because they haven't made themselves available for a special purpose. When you make yourself available for a special purpose, other special purposes come around. But when you make yourself available for cheap, just common throwaway stuff, other throwaway people come around. So you have to make yourself available for something special. So that when all the world comes to you and say, hey, we want you to do this common thing. No, I'm a little special for that. We want to talk to you about this common thing. Nah, these ears are for special purposes. Now, it may sound elite, but aren't you elite? Aren't you special? So why keep letting garbage come into your life if you special? Why keep letting people put good food to be on good china? But if you just got bad food on you, why would you use your good china? You're going to use your little cheap stuff for that because you say this ain't even worth washing up after. It's just a little sorry meal. We not sitting around candlelight. We just sitting in front of the TV. So we just going to pile this up on this little paper plate and do what? Throw it away and go buy another one. So if people using you for a purpose that they can get anybody else to do, you need to question yourself because you're not being saved for the special purpose. So when we make ourselves available to God, he's going to use us for something special. He's not going to use you to sweep up no garbage. He ain't going to use you for trashy stuff that he can just go and replace. You are special, but you got to start acting special. Because if you act cheap, people going to treat you cheap. If you don't want it, I'll take it. I don't care about it. Notice if you put something that's quality on the side of the street, I'll take it, but I ain't have to pay for it, so I just use it for whatever I want. So if you treat yourself like garbage, people going to use you like garbage. Don't worry about how good you try to fancy yourself up. When you start serving the wrong purpose, people are going to use you for whatever purpose you allow them to use you for. But when you allow yourself to know that you've been cleansed of all those things that are not like Christ, and get your mind right to know that you are for a special purpose and make yourself available to him for that purpose, he will use you for the purpose that you are entitled to. Now, the world may say, oh, you think you all that. I sure do. Oh, you think you better than us. Well, you said it, I didn't, right? I don't think I'm better than you, but you can come over here. Who said I got to always go over there where you at? Why don't you come over here? Why do I have to bring myself down to this level? Because I feel like I can't find nobody else. Because I find like, oh, well, these my only friends. I can't. Why you can't? God can give you whatever you need. All you have to do is bring him what you got. So when you bring him what you got, whether you are ready or not, he will give thanks for what you brought. And he will make it work for the intended purpose that is intended to work for. But you got to get your mind right, get yourself out the way, know that you intended for a great purpose, and say, Lord, I'm here. Lord, I'm not ready, but I'm here. Lord, I don't feel like it, but I'm here. Lord, I done made so many mistakes, but I'm here. Lord, the world told me I ain't worthy, but I'm here. Lord, I don't know why I'm here, but I'm here. Lord, I don't know what you want me to do, but I'm here. Lord, they say I don't look the part, but I'm here. Lord, they say I don't talk the part, but I'm here. Lord, I didn't graduate, but I'm here. Lord, I don't have all the stuff they got, but I'm here. Lord, I have to walk to where I got to get to, but I'm here. Lord, please, I don't know what else to do, but I'm here. Now that you here, he going to say, thank you, and give thanks for what you brought here, and you're going to be amazed at what he do with what you brought. Just because your lunch come in a greasy bag don't mean you ain't going to get full. Right? You may be shamed and have to put it down, put it up on there and eat. Whatever you bring to him, he will use for the purpose that is intended for him to use. Don't listen to what other people say you got. Don't listen to what other people think of you. People will never give you the respect that you deserve. Not everybody. There are a few in your life that will tell you the truth. But think about it. You think about the richest of the rich, the famous of the famous. Don't we all have something critical to say? Just go out there to TMZ or whatever gossip site you can think of. Man, they talk about everybody. I mean, everybody. People you wish you could be, they got something bad to say about it. Well, they look good, but look at them in this bathing suit. Y'all ever stand by the checkout line at Kroger or somewhere? The bathing suit issue. So them people ain't trying to let you take pictures of them on the beach. How many of y'all would go to the beach ever again if it were people out there taking pictures like, we're going to put this in Kroger? You will never step foot on, if your foot touch sand, you be like, man, I'm too close to the beach. Taking no picture of me for everybody to see. Circling stuff on your body, talking about what is this? Be there out there in the water with a suit on. I don't know who that is. But them people didn't ask for that. But look how critical we are of them. And these are the people who we look up to. These are the people that they come out with a movie, we gotta see it. And all of a sudden, front page. Only thing they doing is they with their family and kids trying to enjoy a swim. And here comes somebody, click, look at them swim trunks. Look at their body after. They 45 years old. How many 45-year-olds you know look fit? Not many of us. I ain't never looked fit. Now I'm 45 and really don't look fit. So you have to think about it. What are we trying to be? We trying to be something that we're not even capable of being just to be able to say we're ready. By the time you get ready, you're going to be so old. Man, what I'm gonna do with this? You tired? You can't even get up good. Oh, Lord, I think I'm finally ready. For what? To check out? You ain't ready. You barely standing good. You done took all this time. I could have used you when you were 25 years old. Now you're 110. I think I'm finally there mentally, Lord. Use me. Okay, not to say he can't, but man, you done wasted a lot of time. Quit trying to get ready. Don't worry about it. Just bring him what he has. Because see, here's the thing. Here's how we have to treat God. I want you to think about this. I want you to treat God as if you were married to him. Because see, when you treat God like it is in a marriage, meaning, here I am. See me, love me. Because see, the first date, go to meet my soon-to-be wife. I don't know if she's going to be my wife yet. I got to sit down and wait in the living room, and here she comes, glammed up. Wow. Oh, this is amazing. Let's go. Now we get in the car. Guess what I did? I don't clean the car. The car is nice and ready for this day. Can't put nobody in no dirty car, right? Everything go perfect. Now after 20-something years, I get to see the process. You take whatever you want. See you getting ready. Ain't as cute as the first date, right? You come in there, your hair wrapped up. Morning. Morning to you. Boy, it's deeper than mine. What's going on? How you doing? Right? Pull this, tighten this, zip this. You ready? I'm ready. Okay. They see you scraping your feet, clipping your toenails. That ain't cute. You get to see everything. Imagine your first day, somebody come down here, hold on, let me clip my toenails real quick, then we can go. In fact, clip that one. Be married 20 years and think somebody will ask you to clip that toenail that you don't. Man, yeah, they will. Help me get ready. And then you realize, man, there's a lot going on in here that you got to get ready. Pulling, tightening, buttoning, fastening, right? They get to see you. You ain't cute either. How long you done had them underwear? About 20 years? Just strutting around here, rolling through. Don't nobody want to see all that. And now y'all finally ready. Well, guess what? When you're 40-something, you finally get ready, then you say, you feel like going anywhere? Not really. Man, take this off. Let's go on and sit down, right? Now you ain't even going nowhere. But the process you get to see. So now you see what go into getting ready. And they let you see everything, right? You get to see all the cute stuff that you ain't cute. All of us ain't cute. None of us are cute. Let's just be real. Everybody have a day. You ain't cute today. It just is what it is. Superstars don't let you see them in that process of with the makeup off, them ready for bed, done wrapped the hair, done did all this, done stripped the eyelashes and the makeup. And you say, who is that? Oh, that's such and such. Oh, guess what? That's everybody. Your hair is not always done. Your makeup is not always perfect. Your favorite shirt that you sleep in got holes in it, probably thin enough to see through. But that's you. And if somebody saw that for the first time, if that was your first impression, if you say first date and then they got the time wrong and you slide on over there, stand in the doorway, who is this? This ain't the person I met. Yes, it is. Just give me a minute to get ready. Then you come down looking like, what just happened? But when you get married, that's what you're going to see. You're going to see the process. People ain't going to always be cute. Well, guess what? That's how we have to come to God. God, I know I'm not always cute because you can see through all this. You see everything. But you take me as I am. As long as I'm willing to give my all to you, he will use you for the special purpose that you are intended to be used for. Amen. Amen. Thank God. Thank God. Well, that is being available. That's our series on availability. Thank God for listening. Thank God for you listening. And we just thank God for you being here. And all that he has given us to work with and to be a part of is so key that we take advantage of it. Amen.